Welcome to another episode of Trendy with Allison, and this is a Kim's Chair solo rant today, you guys. To stay connected, hit that subscribe button, rate and review if you're listening on the podcast. Alrighty, you guys, we are in our orange folder today, the pop culture folder, and it is an alarming discussion that we're going to have today about social media. So shall we get into it? Okay, you guys. Okay. This whole Perez Hilton situation this week has me thinking, where are we going with this? Like, seriously, where are we going with how we use social media? And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, Perez Hilton, he was, I would call the original, people are going to argue with me and say Wendy Williams, and she, for Black culture, 100%. But pop culture wise, who I heard as a 59-year-old Gen Xer was Perez Hilton. I would call, we used to have this magazine called the National Enquirer, and then you had other garbage ones as well. But the National Enquirer, it was the publication form of like a TMZ.
National Enquirer presents Love, Marriage, and Divorce Hollywood Style.
So between National Enquirer and TMZ, Perez Hilton, he pretty much created a new lane. He was like a human tabloid. And we had never seen it done this way before, like somebody as bold, as boisterous, that wasn't afraid to piss people off, that wasn't afraid to lose friends, arguably, I would say, because visually, I'm just going to say it, he was overweight at the time. I don't think he's that great looking, right? And I believe he's gay. Not that that has anything to do with anything, but I'm just painting a picture of who he was. So why not? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think he was, I don't know. I don't even know the man. He could have had an amazing personality and made friends, but I get the feeling that he really didn't care. And I thought he was pretty clever too by using Paris Hilton, using Perez as a play on Paris Hilton, because she also was the first socialite influencer, if you will. Even though social media wasn't around yet, she brought that to television, us watching the lives, her life, almost like a reality TV show before reality TV. So I just wanted to paint the picture to you guys on who he was, which would predate social media. So fast forward to post social media. Perez was kind of washed up, or at least to me, he wasn't very relevant anymore. So imagine you're at the top of your game being a gossip queen, and suddenly anybody and everybody can do what you do. It doesn't mean they can do it well, but a lot of people do, right? And they do it by simply turning on their phone and creating an account. I mean, I saw a recent post all about the tea, thank you, where Perez was talking about how he read the Bible and found God and all the things, and he was crediting the woman who introduced him to the Bible. You know, I hadn't seen him in years, so to stumble upon this post, I didn't know where it was coming from, right? I didn't know that that was part one to a part two. I didn't know. It just showed up in my feed. So the next thing I know, he's having a psychotic breakdown live on TikTok. I won't watch it, but from what I hear, it was very disturbing, that situation where he was hurting himself. And I could go on into describing what people told me he was doing, but it doesn't even matter. Hopefully getting the help he needs is where he's at today. But to have it play out publicly online is mind-boggling. My brain instantly went to what I want to talk about with you guys today. Where are we going with this whole social media thing? To have this public display of a horrifying act being broadcast live on a platform where with millions of viewers ranging all ages, and people were actually watching it play out, commenting, sharing, talking about his family. And of course, we do what we do, right? we speculate about what we think happened, and I'm not going to diagnose this man because I don't know what happened. Honestly, I didn't even watch it. I don't know what was going on with him mentally or emotionally in that moment. None of us really know. But you can be sure, absolutely 100% sure, right, that we're going to create our own version and that theory will go viral and people will buy into it, whether it's true or not. That's the world we live in. And it's scary to me. But as I've tried to wrap my mind around the initial shocking feeling I had, I'm sitting there thinking, what are we doing? And I don't mean just Perez. I mean all of us because social media, it's changed so much about, the way we live our lives that I wonder sometimes if this train is going to crash and burn? And listen, I participate too. Let's be clear. I'm a hairdresser. There was a time when being a good hairdresser and having clients tell their friends about you was pretty much your marketing, kind of still is my marketing. Word of mouth. You did good hair, you treated people well. Somebody said, "Girl, who does your hair?" when they saw him in the mall, whatever. And there you go. You got a new client. Now, you almost have to be on social media. And it's not enough to just do good hair. Oh no. Oh no. Now I've got to do the hair, take the picture, make sure the lighting is right, make a reel, find the music, create a hook and a loop de doop or whatever they call it, write the caption, post it, engage with everybody. It's a whole damn thing. It's crazy. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not, because social media has given hairdressers exposure and opportunities we never would have had before. You can be a hairdresser in a little salon somewhere and have people all over the world watching your work. That's fucking amazing. So let's be clear about that, okay? But like Perez, just when you thought social media was optional, it suddenly was not. Just being good at what you do isn't enough anymore. Now you have to be good at what you do and be interesting enough for people to watch what you do. And that's where my brain starts going, okay, what happens when interesting isn't interesting anymore? Because the machine always wants more. It's like a beast. Are you interesting enough? We need more personal story. This isn't controversial enough. More controversy, please. There's not enough access. We need more, and more. We're no longer even shocked. We need more shocking. And obviously, me trying to make a hair reel has nothing to do with what happened to Perez. I am not comparing the two. I'm talking about the machine. What does it take to get our attention now? Because I've experienced this myself. Post something controversial, then people show up. Post something kind, say something nice, well, not so much. So, what does that say about us? We, the people. Because sometimes I don't even think we're watching social media just to watch anymore. I really don't. We're waiting for something to happen. We're going to the comments. We're waiting for somebody to say or do something crazy, right? Then somebody stitches that video and so on and so forth. And before you know it, we're all involved in a situation that has absolutely nothing to do with us. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, honestly, what are we doing? It is actually the craziest. I don't even know where we are in time right now. So, when you have something like what happened with Perez show up in your feed, like we all did, can we have a real conversation right now? This wasn't a real. This wasn't somebody manufacturing some little controversy to get engagement. This was a real person in his real life, apparently going through some real shit, people. Okay? And the fact that you could watch it all happen on your phone. Think about that. It's wild. It honestly makes me emotional because I don't think it was that long ago. If you saw somebody something like that, if you saw something like that, it would probably be a movie, right? Like fake blood, fake storyline, a fictitious character with fictitious problems. You knew it wasn't real. So, God give us strength because now you can open an app and potentially watch a real human being hurting themselves in real time. And allegedly, on the app Perez used, millions of viewers watched up to 30 minutes of this shit show before it was pulled. All ages have access to this app, by the way. And that's where I go. Where are we going with this? Because here's what scares me. Every time we see something more extreme than the thing we saw before, I think the baseline moves a little bit, right? Something happens once and we are horrified, shocking. Oh my God, can you believe what happened? Did you see that? Oh my God, it just spreads. Then it happens again and again and again. And then something else comes along that's even worse after that. And suddenly the thing that horrified us 5 years ago, it doesn't hit quite the same anymore. You know what I mean? Stay with me because I'm going to drift an inch with this one, but I promise I'll bring it back. But I kept thinking about Columbine. Remember that shocker at the high school in Colorado? Those two kids with trench coats, right, in their parents' basement, we thought, oh my God. In the 90s, they were the anomaly. We couldn't even wrap our heads around something like that happening. We really couldn't. It was just like craziness. But now, how many school shootings have there been? Can you even name the last four? I'll wait. I can't. And that's scary to me because it's not that we don't care. Surprisingly, I still believe there's hope for humanity. I'll never lose hope, you guys. So hopefully you don't either. But I think we've seen so much that we first sensationalize it, right? And then it becomes normalized. And now something absolutely horrific happens. It's a story for what, 24 hours, 48 hours at best? And then something else happens, and we're on to the next episode. And my fear is that social media is speeding all of this up because Perez, I watched how quickly it became a storyline. People were asking, where were his kids? Where was his family? His mom or whatever. I heard allegedly that his sister and 3 kids were there and she removed them from the home. Did she call the police? People wanted to know, or did a live viewer call the police? Because allegedly those watching saw the police arrive. I don't know. I didn't watch it. People were like, why didn't the app stop the live stream like immediately? Because it cancels people for far less. And it's not like I'm not standing outside of this pretending I'm above it all, you guys. Hell, I'm talking about it now. I have questions just like everybody else. But lately, I'm a little more mindful, and thank goodness because I caught myself. I mean, who knows what's really happening behind the scenes? We certainly don't. We don't know. We're taking little pieces of somebody else's life and creating an entire storyline around it. And just like that, a human being's crisis becomes content. That's the part I can't get past. Like, it's terrifying. And Perez himself makes this whole conversation even more complicated, right? Because Perez was one of the originals. He was incredibly mean to celebrities. That was part of his brand. He talked so much shit about people. It wasn't even funny. Now, I wasn't a fan, but I heard he would draw penises coming out of people's mouths and shit like that. He said things that are foul today, and people would read him for filth if he were here today, okay? But he knows he was awful. He acknowledges it himself. He's called himself a trailblazer. And you know what? He was. I would say he was. He blazed a trail. But look at that trail, because now everybody's unfiltered. Everybody just tells it like it is, right? Everybody doesn't care what anybody thinks. People say horrible things to complete strangers and then say, I'm just being honest. And then they add that respectfully, which to me is so passive aggressive. It is the most passive aggressive word on social media right now. And when I first saw this whole thing with Perez, I'm going to tell you where my mind went. I want to be as kind as I can because he's a human being and deserves grace, and so does his family. I mean, they do watch this stuff. But I thought, maybe this is his karma. Maybe. And then I thought, wait a minute. Maybe this is actually the reason why we should care, because we're human beings. Maybe this is exactly why it matters how we treat people. You can spend 20 years saying you don't care what anybody thinks, right? You can build the thickest skin in the world. You can build an entire career talking about other people and all their shit, but you're still a human being. There's still a person underneath all of that, or God willing. I sure hope so. But I think sometimes social media makes us forget that. We forget there's a person on the other side of the screen. I'm not suggesting we boycott social media. I mean, please. In this case, it's not the game that I hate, it's the player sometimes. But let's be crystal clear. I'm not getting off of social media. I have a podcast, so let's not get crazy, okay? I'm a podcaster, hairdresser, trying to run a business. So I'm going to make the reel. I'm going to take the before and after photos. I'm going to do my little dog and pony show with everybody else, like a good little content creator, because it's hard to put toothpaste back in the tube, right? It's the world we're living in. But I do think we need to start paying attention to what this world's doing to us. Don't you? I mean, fast forward in your mind to present times. What does it take to shock us now? What are we willing to watch? What are we willing to share? And when somebody is genuinely in trouble, do we still know the difference? Do we even know the difference between witnessing something and being entertained by it? Because nowadays, you could witness someone being beat to a pulp. And what do people do? Pull out their phones to record the beating. Ain't that some shit? That's really fucked up, honestly, because it happened to my family. I don't know, you guys. I really don't. But I do know this. I keep coming back to the same question. Where are we going with this? Because we've got kids watching us. We've got grandkids watching us. There's another generation growing up where none of this is new to them. This is their normal. And are they looking at us and side-eyeing us? I hope so. I honest to God do. But my fear is that they're going to need something even more extreme to get their attention, which, whew, I don't know. But I do know this. No matter how big somebody's platform is, no matter how outrageous they are, no matter how much they tell you they don't care, there's still a human being on the other side of that screen. And maybe we should take a beat, right? Let's take a beat before we comment, before we share, before we turn somebody's worst moment into our entertainment, because true crime is just that, you guys. We need to remember that that's a real person on the other end of that device, y'all. I personally love me some Jesus. I say it all the time. And no matter how hard evil tries to win in this world, I still believe love always prevails. And I'm just thinking maybe we can use a little bit of that online. Okay, just saying. So you guys, where are we going with this? What do you guys think? I'm going to leave it there for now and would love to hear your comments and get your feedback. Okay, you guys, let's stay connected on the podcast and on YouTube, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.